So I used to work at St. Paul Public Schools, and when I used to work at the schools, it was okay. Um, I remember it was nice being in a preschool setting because the kids were so adorable and the kids were so sweet. After that, something weird happened, and I quit. I randomly quit, and and I just was going through a lot, and my appearance had changed. The demons had changed my physical appearance. Somebody said, "What do you mean demons have changed your physical appearance?" The demons started causing muscle loss, so it affected the structure of my face. So my face became more narrow, my features became fuller, my jawline that used to be angular all of a sudden became round. My skin started to change. Little flat moles started to grow all over my face and my neck, on my face and my neck, parts of my face and my neck, and my chest. And the shape of my body started to change. So it was so weird being, I guess, the pretty girl and being seen as beautiful to all of a sudden feeling very unattractive. I started to cover my face. I started to hide my face. So I started working at the school. So I quit, and then eventually I started working again. I got a job as a preschool teacher, and I started working as a substitute preschool teacher, but it was a long-term substitute. So I did that for a little bit, and eventually I stopped working, and I went on disability. The demons are confusing my mind right now, so I can't really think. I can't really tell my story the way I want. But anyways, these demons have caused a lot of problems. They have caused me a lot of problems. My physical appearance have really been affected. So these demons, they make me feel weird sensations of being sexually assaulted, where it feels like there's a penis in my neck. Like you can feel it. They make this. It doesn't feel exactly like that's the case, but it just kind of feels like there's something in there. And they touch my body parts. They have these superhuman powers that they use to make it seem like they're physically touching you when they're not. So that's what they've been doing. And anyways, so I started working at this, and there's some misunderstanding. So eventually I quit and I went on Social Security. And eventually I was living with my brother. I was living with my brother in St. Paul, Minnesota. And I used to work as a preschool substitute, and I used to go to different centers, child care centers, and preschools around the Twin Cities in Minnesota. And I met a couple of friends, and people were always happy to have me, and people were friendly, and it was good. So eventually, I was on Social Security, and my look started to change. My face started to become deformed to the point where people started making fun of me. I got driven out of 3 different apartments because of the way I looked. Somebody said, "You come on, you're just imagining things. Like, who would do that? Who would drive somebody out of an apartment because of the looks?" Yeah, because of the torment, because of the abuse, because of the ridicule. So when it got too much, I would just leave. So the first time it happened was when I moved to this apartment in St. Paul, Minnesota. The first time I seen somebody look through the window. Somebody looked through my window, and then they started laughing. Just started laughing. I started hearing comments through the window. And one time I heard this guy say to me, "You look like the Loch Ness Monster. Can't you have longer hair?" And I was devastated that he said this. And then I seen him through the window again. I think I went to fix my fan. It was a really hot summer night, and I went to fix my fan, my box fan in my window, and I heard him say "F" and something. And people would one time I was whistling. I was sitting near the window and I was whistling. This girl goes, "You suck." And they just started saying mean things at my window about me, saying I look like a Loch Ness Monster. Every time I walk by this particular entryway, there'll be on the window with people sitting there with a group of students, because this apartment I lived has students, and they would just be laughing and laughing and talking about me. It got to a point where they will always congregate, they will always gather by my window, and they will say mean things, and they will talk about me, and they will gossip all the time. It got to a point where it got really, really scary. It was a studio apartment, and they were talking about my parents. And this is a person who, these same people who used to tell me that I was beautiful, not these same people, but people used to tell me I was beautiful, I was so pretty, and this and that. And these are the same people who are gathering by my window to talk about me and to say mean things. So it got to a point where they would do that regularly, and it got really, really weird, and it got really scary. And I'm a sensitive person, so things get to me easily. So I decided to pack up and move. I'm like, you know what? If this is what they're doing, and they're being really unwelcoming, being very unkind. And the thing is, I was really looking forward to that apartment. I bought a lot of stuff. I bought a lot of stuff. I bought a lot of nice. I bought a nice sofa, nice TV stand, nice chairs. I bought a lot of nice things for that apartment, and now I had to leave. So I called. First, I told the manager. I told the landlord, and I was like, "Hey, this is what's going on." And he's like, "You know what? We can't stop people from yelling at you or yelling things, saying things to you. We can't stop that. All we can do is send out a little letter, email, and tell people if they see anything, say something, and just make sure that they're being kind and stuff like that." So it got worse. When he sent the email, it got worse. The night that he sent the email, the day that he sent the email, it got better. So I thought they got kind of scared off. And the next day it got worse. So I decided to pack up and move. So I did a sublease where I had to find somebody else to take over my lease. So I found somebody to take over my lease, and I cleaned the apartment, and I called some people to move. Called some movers on Craigslist. A big mistake. I'm not saying movers on Craigslist are bad. Just check to see if they are the right fit for you. But they dragged my brand new carpet all over the floor. They had nothing to cover it with. And I got to the new apartment. My sofa couldn't even fit through the door. It couldn't fit through the door. It was a really big sofa. So they ended up setting it outside, and one of the neighbors complained and said that, called the landlord and said, at the new place, said, no, this girl, she just set a sofa out by outside, and she didn't. Yeah, she just set the sofa outside. So I had to call a junk removal company to come and remove the sofa. So all of this cost me money. All this because demons altered my physical appearance. Somebody say, how bad did you look? Well, they just said I look really unattractive. I look like a Loch Ness monster. My hair was really short, so I kind of cut my hair. My whole facial structure had changed because of the demonization. So the next place I went, I started being laughed at again. So it's not in my head. It's not just, I started to be laughed at again. People started laughing at me. There's this guy in particular, every time he would see me, he would just start chuckling and chuckling and chuckling. And he would start saying mean things up on my door. And he just started being so mean to me. Every time he sees me, he would start grumbling. He would start saying things under his breath and just being so mad at the way I look. It's like, I don't owe you beauty. And the thing is, he had, I don't know, his wife, his baby mama, his girlfriend. He already had a partner with 2 kids. So why do I have to be beautiful to this man? I have no idea. But that's how bad that I looked. That's how deformed that my face was. But at this point, my body wasn't as deformed. It still looked normal. I looked skinnier than they usually did, but it would still look decent. So this guy kept it up with the chuckling. His girlfriend started harassing me, telling me, with your ugly ass face, with your unattractive face. And this is a person who I've always told I was beautiful, gorgeous, one of the prettiest people ever. And this is this girl who's telling me that my face is unattractive because the demons have altered my physical appearance. And so I said, what exactly did you look like? I just looked really deformed. Like my jawline had disappeared, my cheeks, I lost some muscle in my jawline, my cheeks, my skin tone changed, and my eyes became more bulged. It looked like it was almost like, I don't know, just kind of protruded. I don't know if I'm using the right word. And so the girl threatened me. And one time, I have this weird thing of looking out the window. And one time I was looking out the window, and I seen this guy who I went to go look at to see who it was. And this is a guy who used to make fun of me. or the guy who used to laugh at me and say things under his breath when he saw me. It was him. I seen him, and the thing is, I had a shirt on, but I had a shirt that was like covering my body. But I went to the window to see who it was, because whenever I hear somebody walking by, or I always like to see who it is. So I went there, and it was him. He was laughing at me. I didn't know it was him, so I went to the window and I seen that it was him, and he was laughing at me. And the next day, I walked by, because on his way, if I'm leaving my apartment, I kind of have to go near his apartment a little bit. To leave my apartment, I kind of walk by his apartment. Um, and I guess he told his girlfriend. I don't know what he told her that happened or whatever. She just started telling me she would F me up, she would F me up, she'll do this, she'll do that. And it got so stressful that I was like, I can't do this anymore. This guy's laughing at me every day. And there are people who started doing the same thing. They started gathering out my window to say mean things. So I'm like, how in the world is this happening again? These are real people, because I seen them that was standing out my window talking about me, talking about the way I looked. So I got stressed out and I left. I packed my stuff and I went to the library. I left. Now there was this job. There was this lady who needed a babysitter. She needed a babysitter and she needed somebody to watch her kids. And I used to work as a preschool teacher. And I had an ad on Craigslist. She needed somebody to watch her kids. So I was like, okay, I just packed my stuff. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch her kid for the night, and after that, I'll figure out where to go. But I have to leave this apartment. So I left. I went to the library to wait for my job, and the job got canceled. She's like, no, I don't need a babysitter anymore. I don't need anybody anymore. So I was at the library. I was stressed out. I couldn't go home. I was just feeling really, really bad. I was just sitting there. I had people chuckling. A couple of girls looked at me and chuckled. I had some people laugh at me outside the library. I had this girl just burst out laughing when she saw me, because my face looked funny. Because these demons have altered my physical appearance. They made me look funny. And so the same people who were giving me compliments, telling me, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so this. These are the same people who are turning to my worst enemy. These are the same people who are laughing at me and just not being nice. And then I started hearing these demons would talk to me. They started laughing at me. And then the demons started laughing at me also. So I left and I ended up being hospitalized. I started being hospitalized. So I got hospitalized. And I went to this place in Hutchinson, Minnesota. It was about an hour and a half away from where I was. And I was just there. And I was in the psych ward for about 18 days. And after that, they put me in this residential treatment program. In this residential treatment program, I ended up having sexual contact with this guy, and it was totally unplanned. Something happened sexually, and then then something else happened, but it wasn't like vaginal sex or anything. Something happened. I felt like I was taken advantage of. I wasn't raped, but I felt like I was taken advantage of because I agreed to do one thing, and then something else ended up happening, which I did agree to, but it was totally unplanned. But I felt taken advantage of, not rape taken advantage of, but just the situation being taken advantage of. So I had some bleeding, and this person stopped talking to me, and this person started being mean to me and just being kind of rude to me or whatever. So anyways, this was at this treatment center. So he ended up leaving the treatment center. I think he had to leave, and I think he went to the back to the hospital. And I stayed at the treatment program. And at the treatment program, There's this girl that tried to fight me at the treatment program. Yeah, she tried to fight me. She said I'm not allowed to go in the living room. She said I'm not allowed to go in the living room. So I was like, you know what? I have a right to go in the living room if I want to. So I got up. She was sitting on the steps, and she said, you can't walk past me. So I walked past her, and she grabbed me by my wrist. And I started to defend myself. And I tried to get my hand out of her grip.